No vests.
All right, people. Welcome to No Vests, episode 8. We have a guest on here coming up. Sonia Carans will be joining us later in the episode. There's a lot of hype surrounding that guest appearance. I guess we'll see how she does. How are you doing tonight, Jay?
Another great day. You know, it's been another good week. It's 80 degrees. Mountains are blue. I'm hearing the streets are saying the stock market's doing well today. It's a good day. So
It's just an all-around good day. Jay, one of the things I want to talk about was people are saying that our viewership's down and our YouTube views are slightly down. But what people don't understand is we are now on multiple platforms. We are on Spotify. And one of the things that comes with being on Spotify is I ran the analytics. I looked at the numbers, and you know, Spotify has 350 million people that have downloaded Spotify. Not subscriptions, but that's the amount of people on Spotify. Now, if MVP is responsible for 1% of that 350 million, that's 35 million people that MVP is reaching out to and getting to on Spotify. Now, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that MVP is responsible for 1% of Spotify's downloads.
Yeah, we've ran the analytics, and actually since we've launched on the platform, that number has went up. The number hasn't went down. So correlation never is causation, but you could say we were involved in that. That's all I'm gonna say.
And you know, there's some people on Barstool that are saying that we should probably drop out, that we're not built for this. You know, I think they're a little worried. I think that they think that MVP's coming for the throne. You know, I don't know what to say to those guys, but you know, at the end of the day, MVP is totally global. I heard we had a listener in Antarctica this week. You know, first listener to tap in Antarctica. So I mean, we're totally global.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? It could have been fucking... I don't even know who's down there, but it's looking good for us. We're on the up and up. So, yeah, it may look down, but, you know, what did Drake say? I've been down so long, it looks like up to me. So, we're on our way up.
We're going to the moon. Yeah. You heard it here first. But Jay, you know, I think we're both excited to bring our guest on. So, you know, without any further ado, you know, we're going to welcome on Sonia Carans here, and we're going to, you know, dive into the deep end, you know, right out of the gate. So let's just do it.
Let's get her on here.
All right, here we go. All right, welcoming in Sonia Carans to No Vest Podcast, episode 8. You know, this is absolutely a huge deal. Second guest ever. There was some good reviews on the first guest, but I think, you know, we might take it up a notch with Sonia on episode 8. Sonia, how are you doing tonight?
So good. Happy to be out here exploring the seas with you Novesters. Feels good.
There you go. So, Sonia, the first thing I want to jump into is, you know, it's been said that you are a big No Vest podcast fan. You're a No Vester. You're what I would like to consider a day one No Vester. You've listened to every episode, and I think a lot of people, I don't know if I'd describe you as our general No Vester per se. I think people might be a little bit shocked that you are on the MVP train. I would consider you one of our bigger fans. You might be the MVP of MVP. Is there a specific reason why you're tapping into MVP week in, week out?
Well, I don't know what drew me to this podcast, but you guys are out here telling the truth about social media. I respect it a lot.
That's
I think
awesome.
that's what it is. It's the truth. You know what I'm saying? The truth rises above all, I like to say.
Is that something? Is that something you say often, Jay?
I might have just came up with that right now.
That's
there's
pretty
probably a
legendary.
saying, someone probably has something that they'll say they said first, but yeah, you can quote me on that. But yeah, we spit the truth, and that attracts the real. So people probably had us boxed in. They're like, oh, only guys listen to these idiots. I bet girls can't even relate to this, but as you can see, loyal day ones. They wouldn't fit your box that they put us in. So
No.
I'm glad.
People are trying to box you in. Sonia Krantz is not having it. You cannot box her in. I think it's so. One of the reasons you might like No Vest, Sonia, is you don't have any social media. Well, some social media, but not as much as the general, person or female your age would have. I mean, Jalen and I know, from experience, just the younger you get, the more people are on their socials, the worse it is. So just touch a little bit on that. I mean, is it just something you didn't want? Did it just never come about? Is it a conscious, obviously it's a conscious choice you're making to stay off the socials. Did you ever have a ton of socials and you got off? I mean, what's kind of, where are we going with this, Sonia?
Yeah, for sure. Good question. So what really hit me when I first listened to one of your podcasts was you guys were talking about, you see the girl on the beach, she's taking 1 million pictures, and out of the 100 pictures she takes, she's going to only post one. And just that lifestyle does not appeal to me at all. So disclosure, I did have Instagram when I was in high school, but right when I started college, I just kind of realized that I'm looking at these pictures, they're so fake, and it's not anything to my life, and I don't feel the need to take a bunch of pictures and post them for no reason. It doesn't add anything to my life. So I'd say I have an interesting perspective navigating the college scene without the Instagram, but
so
it's a better life.
Is that something that comes up quite frequently? On how often are people basically asking you, Sonia, I can't find you on Instagram, I can't find you on social media? I mean, that's got to be a question that comes up all the time. I mean, do you see that out in the field?
I've encountered it a few times. I did have a question for you guys. Just kind of wondering if you meet a girl and she's like, "Oh, I don't have an Instagram," is that a red flag for you? Like, do you cut that girl off because she doesn't have one?
Not at all. That's in fact the total opposite to me. That I'm not gonna say it's green light go, because Jay Fish, he's a little. I'm taking my time through these intersections. I'm kind of treating them like yellows a little bit. I'm yielding as I go through, but it definitely gives you a little bit of hope, I would say. You say, wow, this isn't because I wouldn't say it's the normal. You would think that you're in the minority of people that most people have one. So I'm the other way. I'm definitely not a red flag. What about you, Jack?
I totally agree with you here, Jay. I would say it's definitely a perk. I don't think it's a red flag if they have social media. It depends on the quality of pictures they're posting. Are they posting the pictures on the beach you can tell are filtered? They're changing their swimsuit every day, different photos, different angles, or is it like, hey, this is kind of like a family photo, or like, the close friends in town, we're doing something kind of cool. Oh, this is, we're out getting drinks, whatever, kind of like a chiller vibe. You can kind of tell the type of person, out of the gate. But I agree with Jay. I think, I wouldn't say it's a green light go, but yeah, I'm kind of on the no socials bandwagon. I wish I could personally do it. I just don't have the mental toughness. I mean, it's really just mental toughness.
Yeah, and like Jack said, it's not like I don't hold it against them if they do have, socials. It's just how much are they using it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have like, I don't know. It just, there becomes a line where it's like you're doing too much. And a general rule of thumb, I might have to save it, but I'll give it to the people if they follow over 1,000 people, that just means they're using it too much. It's like, who actually knows 1,000 people? Like, I mean, you've probably like seen and met 1,000 people, but to like actually say that you follow them, like you're interested in 1,000 people, I just think that's crazy. So it's like, that's like, that's kind of the bar, if you will, that I like to set.
So
anything over that, they're using it too much.
Jalen's been holding on to this topic for quite some time. He really has. I mean, when we started this podcast, this was like the first segment he wanted to do was talk about people that follow 1,000 people, because my theory on that is, if you follow 1,000 people, I like to think you can only know about 200 people like consistently. So if the 201st person comes into your life, someone else is getting kicked to the curb. You can only keep about 200 people, faces that you can actually maintain like somewhat of a working relationship, if you will. That's my personal policy. Sonia, I have a question for you, because Jay, I think we got to get our guests talking a little bit. Yeah. Too much Otchi-J fish time right here. But
I know that. But go ahead.
I want to talk to you about this, Sonia, because I was reading a book about this in people my age or younger. So you fit in this category. It's called FOMO, and it's FOMO, fear of missing out. It's basically, if you had social media and you see, your friend Sonia going out to a bar, you got to study at the library, you see it come up on social media, you get anxiety that you missed a big moment. I'm not out in Destin, Florida, or whatever. You get fear of missing out. Do you ever, fear that you're missing out by just not being on social media, by not seeing it?
Yeah, I am familiar with the topic, and people do ask me about that a lot. I would say, I think you have the fear of FOMO more than you actually have FOMO. So like that's kind of people's big reason for not deleting their Instagram. Even if they're like, I hate Instagram, I'm like, why do you have it? But they're afraid that they're gonna have FOMO. But I think once you delete the app, like you don't even think about it anymore. It's not a part of your life. Also, I'd say when people take the time to take pictures when they're out doing something, like, probably not that fun. Like, when you're actually having a good time, you're not thinking about taking pictures to post on social media.
I totally agree.
Wow. I mean, Sonia Kranz comes on to MVP episode 8, and she's taking it up a notch, Jay. These are levels that are uncharted for us, because we have social, so we can't even talk on some of this stuff. I think you're doing a huge thing for the Novesters. I think you might be leading a Instagram walkout, if you will. I think there might be Instagram might look at their analytics and see, Sonia Kranz calls for an Instagram exit, and thousands of people are dropping off the app. I think you're leading a charge here.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys do have a multi-country reach, so it could happen.
We are global.
Yeah, we have reach. That's right. And yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, you have power, you have influence within. I mean, I'm thinking, the Novest pod might lose a social guy. Right now, I'm running the socials, and I might just delete the app and not deal with it. So that could be a problem. But I don't know. I'm kind of on her side. Like she said, the fear of missing out. Like she said, once it's gone, and you don't know what you don't know. So you don't even know what you're missing because you don't see it. So I agree. It's not that big of a deal.
And one thing I have to always, tell the women that play a key role in my life, my mom, my sister, every time we go somewhere, it's like, oh, you got to huddle up for a photo. It's been happening since you were a little kid. You got to take the one picture. But I've noticed it's gotten worse. What used to take 1 minute is now taking 10 minutes. And it's like, oh, we got to get a family photo. And you just see the look on my dad's face. He wants no part of it. He doesn't smile in the photos. It's probably ruining his day. It might just be straight up pissing him off. I mean, every year the photos get more advanced. People want better. They're competing with their friends. And that's just toxic, man. It's absolutely, the waters are murky. They're absolutely murky there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd also say this might be a little different just because I am in college. I'm a little younger than you guys, so I feel like I'm around people my age all the time. I'm always interacting with people. Do you feel like once you're in your career, you're maybe not around people your age all the time, that you feel like you need to have a social media to be able to talk to them more or like see what people are doing more?
You know, I don't know. It's crazy because you think that, you at some point people kind of graduate from that. They're like, oh, I don't need to be on Snapchat anymore. But you would be surprised. Like to this day, I get grown adults older than me, and they're asking like, oh, are you on Instagram? Are you on this or that? I'm I don't even I don't even have your phone number. I don't even really. Why do I want to see? So in that sense, like you would think that people grow on, but they don't. And if you're getting into the reasons of what like the uses of social media, it's I kind of understand what you're saying. It's a young folks game. That they're the ones that are really dominating it. Nowadays I kind of like to keep current with things. It's like a pop culture news source, if you will. That's kind of where I get most of the use. But other than that, like when people are like communicating through these social medias excessively, I never really understood it. It's like that's what the good old cell phone is for. I guess. Maybe I'm old school.
I don't even know. I mean, I was thinking about answering that question the entire time Jalen was talking. I still have no idea how to answer. I mean, it's a great question. I would say just a little bit. There are certain people you follow just to kind of keep up with, but at the end of the day, I mean, if you like the person, you care about them, you're gonna find a way to connect and keep up without social media. I mean, what did people do 20 years ago? They didn't just like stop talking to their, high school or college friends. You just gotta get on the phone or shoot a text. The group messages are easy to keep up with people, but that's a great question. I don't, I fully don't even. You absolutely, I'm sitting here on my own podcast and I don't even know what to say. But I want to jump right into, because Jalen kind of touched on this. He said that he uses social media as his news source. Now I want to pick on Jay. I haven't picked on him enough yet on MVP. And this was my red flag of the week, was people who use social media as their news outlet. Now so you can use social media as your news outlet if you follow the right accounts. But the problem is people just follow one-sided social media accounts. So you only follow people who think exactly like you. And you're not seeing both sides of the story. And I think you kind of saw that last summer or, years prior. People just keep getting more and more one-sided because it's all through, they get their news through social media. They follow the accounts they want. I think it's a big red flag. That's my red flag of the week, is just people who get all of their news through social media. And Jay, the problem is I think you're a smart enough guy to figure out, okay, what's real, what's not. It's the younger people that have, they started with that as their news source, and now they truly cannot determine what's real and what's in it. It's toxic.
I want to defend myself a little bit because
please don't.
You're making me sound like I'm just kind of some Twitter sheep, if you will. But that's not when I say news, I mean like current events. And yeah, I'm not just going on Twitter and like the first thing I see, I'm like, oh, that's what happened. I crossed, what do they say? Cross-reference different pages. I see what people are saying about what's happening, and then I kind of draw my own conclusion. I'm not taking people's words and saying that's true.
Jalen's one of those guys who actually clicks on like the Snapchat bait. It's like Jake Paul in mansion, like swimming with Jay. Jalen actually, that's his pop culture he keeps up with. What is Jake Paul doing this weekend? Oh, he's on a yacht. Jalen's clicking through multiple ads. He's getting deep into it.
I'm not going to say that I haven't clicked on something a similar headline, but that's it. That is a good red flag though, because like you said, people can really get lost in the muck, if you will. There's a lot of nonsense on there, and people just take it for truth.
Jay, or Sony, one of you guys want to do your red flag of the week?
Sonia, if you want to, go ahead.
Jalen sounds like he's saving something.
Yeah.
I got something.
Yeah, so I think my red flag of the week is gonna have to be a guy who's too much of a mama's boy. I don't want to offend you, Jack.
Oh, wow, she calls out me.
So just to get a little bit deeper into that, they call their mom all the time. Like their mom sends them packages. They ask their mom to make them food. It just gets to be a little murky. Like you can like your mom, you can have a good relationship, but there's a line. There's a line that goes from yellow to red real quick there.
Yeah, Sonia, thanks for coming on MVP. It was great to have you. No, I'm just joking. That's
You might have to yeah, I think I might be guilty of this. Well, I may toe that line of being a mama's boy, but I do agree that relationship between her and then the female counterpart, it gets very interesting. I will say that, and you have both sides pulling at you. You know what I mean? You don't know what side you want to lean on because things can go south. But I do agree there is definitely a line. It gets murky when they're extremely dependent. It's a little scary. I'm wondering, is there like a female? We try to keep this gender neutral. Is there a female version? Like, what do you flip it then? Is it the girl who's like a daddy's girl? Is that what they call it?
I mean, personally, I really wouldn't know.
I get it. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, I almost, guilty as charged. I am a mama's boy. It didn't start till like I was later in life, and I think, just being around and being able to reap those benefits of, being within earshot and getting sometimes the home cooked meals. I'm absolutely guilty. That is a good red flag, though. I think that ties into some deeper stuff.
Yeah,
But
it could come later, and then you can't say that you missed it because Sonia just now let you know it is a red flag to be considered.
yeah, it is. All right, hold on, Jay. Your screen is paused. Sonia, are you seeing him as paused?
No.
Maybe it's just like your screen is paused, Jay. You're like in this.
Let me
Just
unplug
refresh.
the camera and plug it back in.
Yeah, there you go.
No.
All right, we'll just start. Jay, you can just
Okay.
kind of pick up where you. Jay froze for a second.
He's good though.
Yeah, we still got to
Is it
wrap
good?
up. We're wrapping up. Yeah, we're wrapping up red flags. All right, Jay. Whenever you want
Still
to.
recording?
Yeah, whenever you want to take it back over, just give a little like.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So my red flag is a little bit different. I always like to build mine up, so I'm going to build it up a little bit. This isn't necessarily relationship specific. This could be like a friend or even a family member, maybe. There is I've done the research. There's a high correlation of people that commit this act. They go on to commit crimes, and that's just a fact. They're criminals.
Wow.
And it's an extreme red flag, and it could happen. It's scary because you have to be a little bit close and personal to find out this red flag. If someone, let's say they're sleeping over at your house, they're going to brush their teeth in the morning, and then you go and you see that they've taken the tube of toothpaste and they've just smashed it. You know what I'm saying? Where they don't necessarily push it from the bottom out. If they just crunch the whole tube of toothpaste and then just leave it like that until the next time that they just handful squeeze it out, that is a huge red flag. These people are criminals. I'm not kidding. Research has been done. There's a high correlation. Correlation, never causation, but it's a red flag people do need to watch out. I just wanted to let people know.
So you can take this one. What do you think of Jay's red flag of the week?
I would say it is concerning, a little concerning. I would say though, this might be kind of a hard red flag to pick up on. Like you might get a little bit farther in than you want to before you find out how they squeeze their toothpaste container.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. They can do a good job of maybe masking, their weird tendencies. But if you do get that close, because that's an easy thing to slip up on. They don't think about covering their tracks in that. They feel like they're safe. If you find that out, I'm telling you that is an auto red flag. It needs just the flashers go off.
So I have a similar problem. People say I have a problem because the way I eat string cheese, I don't peel it. I just bite it like an animal. Like I just do it. I don't have the time. People are like, oh, you got to peel it. It's better. I just straight up don't have the extra 15, 20 seconds in my day to be sitting here peeling off,
Yeah, you're all business.
No, I'm all business. It's a 3-bite session.
Do you also not break the Kit Kat? Do you not do like individual Kit Kat pieces? Do you just go like straight off the bar? You just bite it? I could see you doing that too.
I honestly don't know the last time I had a Kit Kat, so I'm gonna have to get in the Kit Kat game again before I can fully answer that.
But
I don't think I could. I could be okay with the string cheese, but the Kit Kat is it's too far.
It's too far. It's absolutely too far. Okay, last thing I want to talk about while we got our guest on is Sonia. When we were in Florida, you were talking about, I was talking about hockey's gone soft a little bit. You were saying that you picked Colorado College as your university for the best looking guys. And the reason being, and then you went even further. So one, that's just absolutely not true. I think I know it's University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. But outside of that, you said that specifically climbers and lacrosse guys. and I mean, where are we going with that, Sonia?
Yeah. Well, first, I want to clear up some misconceptions. I don't want to call fake news on MVP, but there was a little borderline on this segment a few weeks ago. So I actually don't go to Colorado College. So I feel like I'm okay to have this answer. But I go to Denver, and we see the guys from the different schools. We have some people from Boulder, from CSU, all the Colorado schools. They kind of mix, they mingle, and I have to say, on a per capita basis, the Colorado College guys, they don't disappoint.
I'm glad you cleared that up, because I did think that there was some what do they call that, conflict of interest, right?
Yeah.
I assumed that, but I'm glad you can clear that up. So you're saying this is a very niche market, like you said. So you're going per capita. You think that they just kind of hold it down. It's a fair argument. And Jack was saying specifically these climbers or lacrosse. Is that a combo?
Yeah, I feel like those guys are not. I mean, they're similar, but they're also very different. So, which one is it, Sonia? I mean, you got to pick here on MVP. Yeah. We're putting you on the hot seat.
I have to say, for me personally, it would be lacrosse, but I recognize that there is a market for climbers out there. Growing up, I know we all grew up in Milwaukee. We maybe don't interact with the climbing world that much, but out in Colorado, it's more of a market, I would say. But yeah, for me, lacrosse.
Yeah, I feel like in Milwaukee, it's the climber guys aren't real climber guys. They got the gloves and they got the shoes and they got the outfit, but then you see them climbing and all they're doing is they're just chilling at Adventure Rock. I mean, they have no business being in the rock climbing game. Jay?
Yeah.
I agree. There's not many rocks to climb. So, but like she said, the market apparently is in Colorado. So if you have interest in, the climbers, that's, where your target recruiting area should be.
I just think we have to spread the word to the no.
Yeah, this is an awareness podcast.
If they're looking for that, I want them to know where to find it.
Yeah, and I feel like I have to stand our ground a little bit. We gave the hockey guys shit, and I feel like the lacrosse guys are probably they're under the similar umbrella. So, we're talking the same guy. We're talking the big fluffy hair. Yeah. The IG. Like
probably got a headband in their hair.
Yeah,
chilling.
We're talking the IG lacrosse guys, or is there or like because I find it hard to believe. That's all I'm saying.
Well, so I also brought up this point to Jack when I originally answered the segment, but I would say that it's not only that there's the lacrosse guys, which you can find anywhere. It's the fact that in addition to being a lacrosse guy at Colorado College, it's a good school, they at least have some brains. There's something there.
So that was a low-key subliminal shot at the lacrosse guys. I caught that.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of intelligent ones out there, but not at some school.
Well, you heard it here first, Sonia. Anything else you wanna get out to the Novesters? Any shout outs? Anything you wanna say before we sign off here?
Just wanna plug my no social media lifestyle.
I think you did a good job of that.
Yeah, that's easy. Not many plugs.
Yeah, that's very impressive. I think people, all over the world are going to be probably looking you up after this podcast because our reach is so wide and we're so global now. It might be difficult, but we appreciate you coming on. Keep shooting us, responses to the segments, and we hope to have you back. Maybe in another segment. So,
thanks so much, guys. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, that was Sonia Carans, who was just on MVP episode 8. If you want to find her on social media, good luck to you. She does not have the socials. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Jay is out in California, and his camera has stopped working, so I am officially on the big screen. I've always wanted this moment. This is a big deal for me. I always kind of figured I would take over MVP completely. It's a little earlier than I anticipated.
Now they haven't taken my mic capabilities away. I'm still here to talk. I'm still here to let you and all the listeners know that now that you're full screen, your dust haircut with the headband is just on full display. So I think the people will appreciate it a little bit more. We'll see.
We actually just turned Jay's camera off due to Novesters wanted Jay off the camera, but I wanted to get it. I wanted to get something off my chest this week on MVP, and it came up multiple times from multiple different people. I think it's about time we finally talked about it. I think it's been a few weeks and we haven't really touched on it yet, and that is and I think people might chirp at me a little bit just by hearing the intro, is coronavirus policies that make zero sense. Now, I'm all for public safety, I'm all for health, whatever, but the problem is some of them make no sense. So my brother was telling me this story this last week. He was at his gym and he is facing a month-long suspension. A month-long suspension because he signed up for a time slot of an hour, and during COVID you only get 1 hour to work out, and then that's your time slot for the day. Well, he finished his workout after 1 hour. He went into the locker room and he came out 5 minutes after, and they tagged him with a 1 month suspension for being 5 minutes late out of the gym. Now, I gotta look at it like this. If you're 5 minutes past your workout, how many more people are getting coronavirus? And here's where the problem lies, Jay, is they say it's due to our health policy, or it's due to COVID safety, and you can't argue that. So if you argue that, you look like an imbecile. So when they say that, the conversation generally just comes to an end, and I can't stand it. Another example, I'm just going to rattle these off, is I was at the Bucks game, and halftime, there's no halftime entertainment. So it's a 2.5 hour professional basketball game, and my dad and I did halftime. You can't even go to the concession stands. First off, you gotta order through some bullshit app and then go pick it up. It's so stupid. But we just stand up to, stretch our legs. We've been sitting for 2 hours, and within 20 seconds of standing right in front of our chair, literally 6 inches in front of our chair, and we're standing up, and they rush over and they're like, "You gotta sit down." And we're like, "Why?" And they go, "Well, coronavirus." And you gotta just be like, well, what aspect of it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
they
How long are we just going to use that card? It's
an immovable object. You can't argue it. It's unfair, and it's extreme. I've seen it out there every day. It's just extreme. People say this is the reason, and you can't argue with them. If you argue with them, then you look like an asshole or someone who, doesn't care about, other people's health, whatever. But I mean, we know enough to know, like, at my gym, I can't play basketball on the weekends. I can only shoot around during the weekdays. Just COVID, you can't expose people on the week. It makes no sense, Jay. It makes no sense.
So I guess I'll give a little bit of pushback. I'll be devil's advocate a little bit. Do you blame? So basically, what I think it is, it's these people these businesses, they have to set and enforce these rules in order to be open, right? There's laws in place or whatever, or at least that's what they're saying, right? Oh, we have to follow these protocols.
I think it's not.
So do you blame the higher ups, or do you blame the people that have to enforce the law?
I blame both. I
agree, because I think they could be letting it slide. Like,
yeah.
Does the guy really need to press you and tell you to sit down? Like, he could say that, yeah, we're telling people they have to sit down, and then they don't actually do it. You know what I'm saying?
And, like,
that seems like a reasonable approach.
Yeah, I'm at the Bucks game, and, like, I came with 4 people, and we literally have, like, a section almost to ourselves. Like, there's no one within 20 feet, and you have to, wear a mask all the time, and that's not really the end of the world. But, like, it's a 2-hour game. You want to eat some food. You want to grab a beer. You want to cheat a little bit. You want to pull your mask down below your chin. It's just human nature. People can say what they want, but at the end of the day, it's just human nature. And, yeah, they could absolutely be letting it slide. So I blame both. And generally, when someone does come out with something ridiculous, like at my gym, I always question it, and that's another thing. My dad really questions the whole thing, and he's become almost like a liability to take out, and I hope he's listening to this. He's almost become like a liability to take out to places because the policies are so stupid. So I agree with him on, some of the policies of, like, you can't stand up in front of your chair. It makes no sense. But then it's like, all right, now you're arguing with them. Like, now it's becoming like almost worse than just the policy itself to hear the argument. So it's like, where are we going with this, Jay?
I agree. It's like, oh, I get it. You don't want to wear a mask. But at the end of the day, they're telling you got to wear a mask. Like, we want to go to this game. It's like, I'm not saying that he's not wearing a mask or whatever. But, yeah, the guy that, like, wants to challenge everything, you're right. It gets to become a bit of a burden. You're like, all right, I'm just trying to enjoy my time the best way possible. If this is what they're offering, I'll take it. But then, yeah, you got people in your party trying to ruffle all the gas up the security guards or whatever we call them. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny. It is some entertainment. You have to admit. I'm sure you get a couple good laughs.
No, I do, and I think my way of dealing with it isn't really to argue with the person. I mean, I'll question it, and I'll just, because to me it's funny. I'll be like, what sense does that make? Like, explain to me the science. I want to hear the science, or how it's affecting, or how it's
the CDC say about that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll do that, but generally my rule of thumb is just, I won't support that business, and I hope it hurts them in the long haul, because at some point it's not a safety measure. It's almost like harassment. So, like, I was at my haircutting spot, and it was the same thing. Like, there was a chair. There were 3 chairs, and I just sat down in one of them, and the receptionist comes up to me, and she's like, "Oh, you can't sit in that." And I'm trying to work. I'm sending emails off my phone, and I walked from like 3 blocks away. I just wanted to grab a seat and be on my phone for a little bit. She's like, "Oh, sir, you can't sit in there." And I go, "Why?" And she goes, "Oh, you have to stand up." And I was like, "Wait, so I have to stand up right next to the chair?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Well, why?" And she goes, "Well, that's our policy." But I go, "Well, why is that your policy?" And she goes, "I don't know. I don't make the rules." And I said, "Well, my rule is that I'm not going to get my hair cut here today because, at some point it's like almost harassment. I bet I'm going to get a lot of shamed. I bet some people might never even tune back into this app, But at the end of the day, it's like, at the end of the day, you're a grown ass man. You should be able to make your own choices, right? And I was wearing a mask too. I'm wearing a mask. No one's within 10 feet of me, and I have to stand next to the chair, and I can't sit in the chair. Like at that point, I put it on both the hair cutting place and then also the lady. Like, I'm walking you through this. I'm vaccinated. I have my mask on. No one's within 15 feet of me. Like those three things. It's like what? And then what's the difference between me standing and sitting? I think, this is turning a little bit more into a complaint than anything. But at the end of the day, it's just like, it's just sad. I think people stand behind that slogan of like, we're doing it for your safety and your health. And you're just like, like, how's it really helping me? Where am I seeing the benefit from it? So I just wanted to get that off my chest before the end of MVP. I think maybe some people agree with me, maybe some not. I think we had a phenomenal episode. I think maybe we keep Jay in the audio booth from now on. I'm kind of digging being on the big screen.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to get a haircut and maybe a better facial hair situation. That goatee, we got a lot of comments on that goatee. I think it was last week. I'm glad to see it filled in a little bit. But, yeah, if we're going to be showcasing you like this, like we're going to have to sharpen you up. We might need a makeup team.
We might need a makeup team. We definitely need a production team. Send in our applications. You know where to find it. novestpod@gmail. Send us your application if you have a makeup background or a hairstylist background.
Resume.
I'm actually looking for a hairstylist. So, but thank you to Sonia Krantz for coming out onto MVP episode 8. I think we dove in quite well on a bunch of different topics. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Jay, anything you want to say from the penalty box?
Nah, just blowing us up. Keep running up the socials. At NoVest on Twitter and IG, NoVest on YouTube and Spotify. Just check us out. Blow us out, especially Spotify. Excuse me. We're trying to grow those numbers. And yeah, keep your ears and eyes and everything. Keep your ear to the streets. We're looking to get on Apple here as soon as possible.
So
I'm in talks with Tim Cook and those people, and they're giving us some hoops to jump through, but we'll be on there soon enough.
So I want to end this MVP with a little T-shirt giveaway. We'll see who actually listens to the end of the episodes. Cole Worth, if you are listening, if you are out there today, buddy, you have won yourself an MVP free hashtag NoVest T-shirt. Just hit us in the DMs. We'll get you hooked up with a T-shirt. We appreciate everyone who listens, like always. And that is MVP.